Hello guys and welcome back to Mayster Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about a very specific film, the first of my modern reviews. So this will be the very first film that I cover from sort of the modern times of releases going forward. And yeah, what do you know, it's Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, there will be a spoiler section at the end of this video, as I think I'll do for all of my reviews, where I give a clear warning that I'm going to go into spoiler territory, of which you can click off the video if you feel like it. But first I'm going to say my non-spoiler thoughts. I found this movie to have a few issues. I think I'm starting off with a bad here, so don't say that this is kind of my overall thoughts of the movie. Don't think that I hated it. I think it was great. It just had some problems that really rubbed me off the wrong way. I would say that apparently there's some complaints about the effects. I thought the effects were fine. I thought it was very well acted, incredibly well acted. Most notably, Olsen and Cumberbatch. Them two both did brilliantly. I'd say the soundtrack was good. The story as a whole, it's definitely a concept-based movie where sort of the concept outweighs the actual story that's being told. 100%. It's way more about concept and lore, this film, than I'd say genuine storytelling. Don't get me wrong, there are genuine arcs. Strange has quite a heartfelt and sincere arc in this film. It is still very much a Doctor Strange film, but there's a few issues, and a lot of them really revolve around the depiction of Scarlet Witch, which I was not expecting going in, considering Olsen was really the reason why I was excited for it. So with that out of the way, off the top of my head at least, let's go into spoiler territory. So you've now been warned. You've got a fair warning and click off the video now. If you don't want to be spoiled for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, please leave the video now. Okay? Right? Okay, let's get into this. If that is Wanda dead, if that is the end of Wanda Maximoff, that was probably one of the most cheapest deaths in the MCU I've ever felt, ever. Like, there are very little deaths that feel more cheap than hers did. It's literally just, she takes the powers, takes the entire tower down, and just on out. Now, the thing is, right, if that was her end, fine. I'm not complaining by the way she went out. It's just how quickly it was done. There was no room to breathe in it. It was just, right, I have to do what's right. And literally within 30 seconds later, the tower is down. And we presume her to be dead. I personally don't think... I'm starting to think that she isn't dead, because I don't think Marvel could actually get away with that if she actually was. I don't think anyone thinks she's properly dead. But I'm sorry. It was just so lame. It was such a good setup moment. I personally don't have a problem with the third act, how like she was taught a lesson, Wanda. How she'd become the very monster that she wanted to avoid. And that the Darkhold had corrupted her. I like how the third act fight was kind of misplaced with that. I don't mind that. I'm not the kind of person who's like, oh, I want a big fight in the third act. It's fine. I'm okay with it being like that. I'm fine with it. Because I'd already seen enough Doctor Strange madness earlier in the film. I didn't need, and in the build-up of the third act, I didn't necessarily need to have a massive fight at the end. Because there kind of already was bits and bobs between Strange and Wanda. What I can't stand is the fact how, after that amazing scene where she confronts herself, which, by the way, good job for the trailers, because I saw that in a completely different context after seeing them. She decides to do the right thing, and it's over just like that. I understand that a lot of this film was cut up. I think about half an hour was cut from this film. That must have been part of it. Half of that scene. That must have just been completely chopped. It's just so cheap. It was just brought down immediately. There was no emotional music score. There was no slow moment where we spend time with Wanda in her final moments, confronting everything she'd done. She was truly and utterly a villain at this point. And I was saying, when she was killing all the Illuminati and all of those people, she was irredeemable. She did things in this film that literally make her irredeemable, which would mean that her death at the end would make us leave her on good terms, but there's absolutely no chance she can truly be forgiven from this point, which means that logistically, in terms of a narrative sense, she had to be taken out. If this was her death, this was it. She can't come back and do a fake out. It can't be a fake out and then come back and then be all forgiven again. That just can't happen. She did things in this film that are unforgivable. So, yes, she did the right thing in the end. And if this was a send-off, but it wasn't handled right. It seems like a fake out death. If it is, that cheating's at the start with, and it was cheap anyway. It wasn't done right. And just that one scene, it's how that one scene was handled, how I can disagree with an entire film. It's really strange. But on a side note, I think the only main spoiler thing I can get into, I'm sure I'll have more thoughts as time goes on. But first of all, I think we should get into lastly anyway, the last thing. I think the last thing we can get into is the Illuminati. Now, Black Bolt, I'm not too familiar with Inhumans. I'm not. No, Captain Carter was okay. Lashana Lynch, Captain Marvel, was a bit arsey and annoying, but we'll let it slide. I mean, she did a good job in No Time to Die. I found Mordo okay. I mean, he's just there. Patrick Stewart was great. And, of course, is there anyone else I'm forgetting before we get to the big guy? Nah, I don't think I am, so let's get right into it. Mr. Fantastic, John Krasinski. Wow. Some of us thought it would never happen. A lot of us thought it would. The only part of this that worries me is that he will now not be our Reed Richards in 616. It makes me think that that's a multiversal casting to sort of make the fans go nuts, and then that's the end of it. That's the only part I'm afraid of. But aside from that, yeah, good stuff. I know it sounds like I've just shat on the thing in the last 2 minutes, but I was just a bit cross with the Wonderhole situation. So, yeah, but yeah, that's all I really got to say. So yeah, I'll see you next time for another modern movie review. But until then, goodbye.